Okay, so maybe we can start na and hoping na pakinig po ako. Pakinig po ba ako? Double
Opo,
checking. Okay, good.
tapos po.
Thank you po. So, okay. So for today po, we'll be doing or I'll be covering 4 topics po. And most of these are kind of conceptual. So hindi ko ma-assure sa inyo na magagamit lahat ng mga concepts na matuturo ko today. But definitely, siguro maybe some aspects in your life magagamit nyo like for the CIE. Ayan. Okay. Okay, so maybe we can start with the first one, talking about process strategy and talking about process strategy and sustainability. So dito po, we'll be covering lang yung ano-ano yung mga klase ng process or ano-ano yung mga process strategies ng na applicable or ginagamit ng mga companies. Okay, and then we'll be covering ano yung ilan sa mga tools na pwede nyo magamit pag may mga continuous improvement activities kayo on how to set baseline or how to draw the current state and then make use of that current state to evaluate, to make up proposals, and later on improve and set a future state for those processes or for those kinds of activities. Okay? Okay po. So ano daw muna yung process strategies? Actually, yun po, process strategy, ito lang po yung konsepto whereas we just identify anong klaseng production process yung ating ginagamit sa industry para ma-meet natin yung customer requirements in accordance sa mga sets of specifications ng product natin or yung service na ginagawa natin and mami-minimize natin yung cost or ma-evaluate natin yung cost and then ma-resolve natin or ma-understand, ma-consider natin ang mga several constraints, managerial constraints. Okay, so yun po yung process strategies. Again, conceptual po siya. Pag ako'y tinanong nyo sa industry, anong klaseng production process meron yung industry, yung little fuse, masasabi ko lang, it's either build to order, build to stock, and then custom made part. Yun lang kalimitan yung iniikutan. Okay? So again, yung term namin is build to order. Ito lang yung konsepto. Or make to order, and then meron build to stock, and then meron pa rin kaming mas custom made part. Yan lang yung kalimitan namin mga terms sa industry, custom made production. Pag sinabing build to order, saka ka lang gagawa, saka ka lang maglalagay ng plano, saka lang gagawin ng production yung plano mo pag may order na, pag may customer orders na. Malinaw? So order muna. Okay, bago tayo mag-build, kailangan may orders na existing. Okay? Pag build to stock, ito yung case whereas alam mo na may demand sa future, mababa yung chance na magiging obsolete or mawawala yung demand kasi alam mo consistent na may demand yung mga part numbers or mga materials na pinoproduce nyo. Malinaw? So as a result, you're just building in accordance. Binibuild mo lang siya yung stocks even if yung orders mo hindi pa ganun kataas but still you're expecting na may demand ka pa rin sa future. You're not just waiting for orders here, pero ayun, gumagawa na tayo in relation sa forecast. Kasi alam natin yung forecast volume, kahit wala pa yung actual orders, we're starting to build our inventory. So, ibig sabihin po, in consideration with our inventory position, ang build to order po ay masasabi natin less yung inventory. Okay? Kasi nga po, saka ka lang gagawa. Kung saka ka lang magpaplano, saka lang gagawin ng production yung plano mo pag may orders na, may customer orders. Ito pong build to stocks, we're expecting a higher inventory. But later on, you're expecting it na level lang yung inventory and then, or at the right level lang yung inventory. Okay? Pero yun nga, medyo mataas as compared dito sa build to order. In terms of lead time po, syempre build to order siya, saka lang tayo magbi-build kung kailan may order. So, ang lead time natin dito ay medyo matagal, yung lead time. Di ba? So, dapat yung mga customers magpe-place na ng orders in ahead. Malinaw? While build to stocks naman po, kalimitan, dahil nga po continuous yung ating production, yung ating lead time ay mas kukonti. Okay? Kasi nga, na-anticipate na natin yung orders through our forecast. Kaya tayo may forecasting, di ba? Kasi even if wala pa yung orders, we can anticipate, we can estimate ano kaya yung future requirements na ma-receive natin. So as a result of that action, of that forecast, and as we build inventory, so ang customer pwedeng kumuha na lamang na inventory, mag-place ng order, and then they're expecting a lead time na maikli, whereas madi-deliver sa kanila yung in-order nila at a short period of time. Malinaw po. Ay, pag custom-made production, ito naman parang build to order din na pero ito yung mas parang specific sa mga customers, yung mga parts natin. Halimbawa, one part number will be used only or will be consumed only by one customer. Okay? So may mga cases kami nito. And then build to order kung kailan lang may order yung customer or kailan sila magbibigay ng forecast. Sila, customers yung magbibigay ng forecast, hindi kami yung mag-estimate ng forecast. Okay? Kung kailan lang magbibigay ng forecast ng customer, saka lang namin gagawin yung mga orders nila. Okay? So, yun nga po, custom-made siya kasi yung part number namin, hindi siya na-share ng multiple customers. Unlike dito sa build to order po, yung one part number can be shared by multiple customers. Okay, can be used by multiple customers. Sa custom-made, possibly isang part number ay specific lang for one customer. Okay? So yan, ganyan yung tawag sa amin. Pero dito sa ating material, iba yung tawag sa kanya. Mas naging specific. Ayan, ang process strategy daw po ay madidetermine base sa volume ng production mo at sa variety ng production. Again, dapat apples to apples yung comparison dito. What I mean is, you cannot compare car production with a circuit or a what do you call this? A circuit board or mga semicon na production, di ba? Ang car, alam naman natin na malalaki yung kanilang production. Okay? So, hindi natin pwede i-compare yung car production against a different kinds of industry. So, kung car production siya, dapat specific siya dun sa car production. Example, you're comparing the production ni Toyota as compared sa production ni na Ferrari, or hindi ko alam kung anong mismong pangalan ng company, pero ayun, kung sino man yung production ng Ferrari. Okay? So, ganun dapat yung magiging comparison. Okay? At hindi yung car production versus the semicon production. Okay po? Okay? And then with regards to variety, yun nga po. Pag sabi variety, ilang klase, yung kinds, how many different kinds? Sorry. How many different kinds of products ang pinoproduce niya? Okay? Malinaw po? Okay. So, let's start with the first process strategy, yung tinatawag na process focus. Okay, tinatawag din siyang job shops, whereas maraming variety pero mababa yung volume. Diba, hospital, okay, maraming klase ng operations ang ginagawa pero iilan lang yung doktor. Maraming klase ng operations ang ginagawa pero konti yung mga tao pumupunta doon na mag-undergo ng similar operations. Okay, so ibig sabihin, mababa yung volume, yung mga tao pumupunta doon na mag-undergo ng operations, and then iba't ibang klase ng operations yung ginagawa. Similarly din sa mga magpapa-photocopy ka. Okay, sa mga photocopying shop. Okay, yung volume nila, ayan, nakadepende sa kung iba't ibang klase yung kanilang pinapa-photocopy na mga materials. And then, kukunti lang. hindi ganun kadami. Hindi bulkuhan, kumbaga. Hindi million copies ang ginagawa. Okay? And then, repetitive, ito kalimitan sa mga industries. Batch production yung tawag sa kanila. May gumagamit sila ng mga standardized parts whereas yung mga raw materials ay the same. Pero yung ating raw materials na pumupunta sa, na dumadating sa planta natin ay the same. Pero yung nagiging output natin ay iba't ibang klase. Diba? Halimbawa, motor. Iba't ibang klase. Ang ating raw materials na pumapasok, halimbawa mga metal sheets, di ba? Pare-pareho ng metal sheets. Pero yung motor na ginagawa natin ay iba-iba. Okay? And again, continuous yung ating production. Repetitive. Okay? Tuloy-tuloy ang ating production. Okay? And then, product focus naman po, pag mataas yung ating volume, pero, ayan, mababa yung ating variety. Ito po yung mga mass production na tinatawag. Okay? Halimbawa, yung mga San Miguel, di ba? Ilan lang yung klase ng variety ng pinoproduce sa San Miguel beer. Okay? Pero, again, yung beer na ano nila ha, na business unit. Okay? So, yun, iilang klase lang ng beer yung kanilang pinoproduce, pero maraming mataas yung volume. Okay? Another example pa nito ay ano pa ba magandang example? Marami itong example eh. Ayun, sigarilyo halimbawa. 'Di ba? Halimbawa Winston or yun, kung ano man. Ayan, yung production nila mataas. Madami silang pinoproduce. Mataas yung volume. Pero yung variety, ilang uri ng sigarilyo kanyang pinoproduce, konti lang. Okay? So, yun po yung product focus. And then we have a mass customization whereas mataas yung variety at mataas din yung volume. Okay? So, example niyan is yung Dell computer. Ang Dell computer kasi is pare-pareho sila ng, di ba marami silang klase ng laptop and then yung laptop nila ay kino-customize depende sa kung anong pangangailangan ng industry. And then yung pagbili ng piyesa rin sa kanila, di ba, madali din. Madaming iba't ibang klase ng piyesa na madaling mahanap. Okay, so mataas yung kanilang volume ng production nun and mataas yung variety na ginagawa ng Dell. Okay? And of course, ayaw naman natin umabot sa point na mababa na yung volume natin and then mababa na rin yung variety. Okay? So yun nga po yung process strategy. Again, conceptual. Parang ina-identify mo lang anong klase ng production meron yung company or anong klase ng service yung meron yung company in order to meet or exceed customer requirements. Okay, so ito, skip na natin to. Process focus. Ayun na, ipaliwanag naman natin kanina. Yan nga po, just to illustrate it, we have several inputs dito and many different outputs. Okay, there are different kinds of surgeries needed. There are different kinds of sick patients to be attended. There are different kinds of baby deliveries, kinds of emergencies, and then iba't ibang klase yung approach or atake natin sa kanila or mga procedures natin sa kanila. Okay, and then syempre yung treatment natin would be different on each case. Okay, yan po yung process focus. Then repetitive focus characterized by modules o yung tinatawag nating mga assemblies and then mga standardized parts. So ang tawag rin sa kanya ay assembly line. So ito kalimitan sa mga production na nagre-require ng matagalan na production run or tuloy-tuloy na production run. Tawag sa kanila repetitive yung focus. Ayan. So we have raw material inputs dito and then we have different combinations that can be made out of the standard components here. Okay? Yan, kalimitan sa mga production ay nagfa-follow siya ng assembly line or repetitive yung ating focus. Product focus naman po, high volume, low variety. So, focus tayo sa product and Ayan, long and continuous production din po siya. Tuloy-tuloy din yung production niya, mas tuloy-tuloy as compared dito sa repetitive process kasi nga po mataas yung volume na kailangan natin. And besides, konti lang naman klase, konti lang yung variety na ginagawa natin, mataas yung volume. So definitely continuous nga yung production natin para mas efficient yung run. A classic example of a product focus ay yung mga feed mills. Okay? So yung mga feed mills natin, ayan, yan, parang ganito. And ito po kasi ay sa steel production. So focus sila sa steel, di ba? Yung steel naman ay yung possibly yung variety lang ay depende sa size. But still, ayun, focus sila dun sa product, focus sila dun sa flow nung kanilang operations. Ayan, yung long run, kumbaga. Okay, sa mass customization, self-explanatory naman to. So, skip na natin to. Okay, so ito yung ilan sa mga comparison nung apat na klase ng process strategies. Okay, so kaya niyo na naman to, hindi ko na masyadong i-cover to. Ito, mahalagang malaman nyo. Pag process focus tayo, low volume, high variety, ang operators natin ay broadly skilled. Bakit po? Posible kasi na yung dahil nga po sa mataas yung variety natin, we have several machines dito. Halimbawa po, ibig sabihin, yung ating operator can attend multiple machines and he's familiar with multiple machines. Malinaw po, with multiple processes. Then repetitive focus naman po, modestly trained, whereas ito po yung mga machines natin dyan. So posible, hindi niya alam yung sa dalawang machines. So mas expert siya to handle these two machines. And besides, pag po nasa production kayo, yung mga tao po sa production po ay hindi po allowed na pumunta or hiramin ng other process. Okay po, kasi po may mga license po sila may bibigyan sila ng parang ID, okay, dito sa itong tao na to, itong operator na to should only attend sa machine na to or sa machine na to at hindi pwedeng umattend sa other machines. Okay? Ganun po sa production. Meron silang lisensya na parang bawal pumunta sa other machines, bawal mangialam sa other operations. Kung ito'y nasusunog, bawal po. Bawal pa rin. Kung ito'y may problema, bawal mangialam itong tao na to. Okay? Then, dito naman po sa product focus, less broadly skilled po. Bakit po? Long run po kasi, mataas yung volume. Ibig sabihin, yung mga tao, naka-assign lang din dun sa mga machines and specific sa mga machines. Monitor lang nila, i-check lang din nila. Kagaya rin ito, pero since nga po ito ay mga standardized components, hindi ganun kataasan yung volume at yung variety naman po ay medyo madami-dami din but not as high as the process focus. So ito pong product focus ay yun, kada isang tao, while repetitive naman ay could be from this person can move from one machine or can attend to one machine and then to another machine. Okay? Then ito, flexi dapat yung ating mga operators. Okay? Then, ayan. Ano pa ba? So, with regards naman po sa finished goods, pag process focus tayo, finished goods are usually made to order and not stored. Ibig sabihin, dahil nga po sa mataas yung variety natin, low yung volume, ibig sabihin, we must know customer orders. Kailangan may nare-receive muna tayo mga customer orders before tayo mag-build. Again, ito yung made to order. Ito yung sinabi ko kanina na build to order. So another term din po yan. I think most preferred ng karamihan is made to order. Then, dito naman po sa repetitive, dahil nga po sa continuous po yung ating, or continuous naman yung ating production, so meron tayong nare-receive na mga forecast and those forecasts can be used as a basis on setting up our plan on our production for the finished goods. Okay? Ito naman pong product focus. Ito yung konsepto kanina na um, make to stocks na lang. Make to stocks or build to stock. Made to stock. So ito po, may forecast tayo kasi nga po alam natin mataas naman yung volume, less yung variety. So less yung risk na ma-excess and obsolete siya. So i-store na lang natin yung mga stock once na na-produce sila and we'll wait for customer orders. Para ready na nga po yung order, yung stocks natin once na dumating na yung customer orders. Okay? And then, ayan, ilan lang yan sa mga comparisons nung apat na yun. So hopefully you can read this. Nasa reference materials din naman po natin. Okay, so skip ko na to. Okay. Siyempre, punta tayo guys dun sa at mga approaches natin when we are having like improvement projects for a particular process. Okay, hold on po. Parang okay. Ayan. Halimbawa po, may project nga tayo na pag-aaralan natin yung process. How can we make that process more efficient? How can we reduce the time consumed for that operation? How can we ensure na less yung ating defects and so? So, gumagamit tayo ng process analysis and design na mga tools like flow charts, like mga time mapping charts. So, yun po yung goal natin dito sa process analysis. Definitely, ito po yung magagamit nyo. Sure po ako. Okay? So, dito po may tinatawag tayong mga flow charts and time function mapping. Unahin natin yung time function mapping na example. Siyempre, sa industry, pag may project ka, first, you have to understand ano yung current na situation. Tama? What's the current process? And hindi naman po pwede na ang current process natin ay parang ganito. Ayan, hold on. Screen, white screen. Halimbawa po, you are asked to improve. Ang goal natin ay improve, let's say, customer or improve lead time. Okay, ang goal natin ay ma-improve natin yung lead time, meaning papaikliin natin yung lead time. Okay? Ang lead time po, ito yung konsepto ng, ito yung time it takes an order or it takes an order to be received by the customer. Or it's the time from customer order receipt. Ayan, customer order receipt. Ibig sabihin po, yung time na na-receive natin yung orders to paano ba i-reterm to? From customer purchase order the time the customer purchase an order through the time it takes that order to be received by the customer. Okay, so hindi ko na isusulat So lead time po, it's the time between yung the customer placed the order up to the time na na-receive nila yung orders. Okay, malinaw. Halimbawa, umorder ng Jollibee. Umorder kayo sa Jollibee. So gaano katagal yung time na from umorder kayo ng Jollibee chicken hanggang sa ma-receive nyo yung chicken. Okay, yun po yung konsepto ng lead time. Okay? So, if we are trying to improve the lead time, syempre, understand muna natin yung process. Ngayon, papaano nyo ipe-present yung understanding nyo sa process? Diba? Kung tayo po ay ordinaryong estudyante, siguro ang ating or walang experience pa sa kung paano natin i-present to, siguro tayo ay maglilist daw ng step. First step, second step, third step, fourth step, fifth step, sixth step, seventh step. Yan. Di ba ganyan? Ganyan yung ating gagawin. Unang maiisip natin. Tama? Pero hindi po ganyan sa industry. Kasi it's too verbatim or parang masyadong worthy. Ayaw natin sa industry ng ganun na masyadong descriptive. Gusto natin nagbibigay yung ating steps na to ng more details. More details than just reading line by line. So to do that, to understand yung current process natin, we can make use of different charts. One of those could be yung mga flow charts natin, mga tinatawag nating swim lane diagram, mga VSM natin, and many others. Napakarami pong tools. Again, we're just here to understand yung current process, but then we have several tools na pwedeng gamitin. Hindi po pwede na you're just isusulat lahat ng process. Kailangan po may konting detalye dito. Halimbawa, may time man lamang. Sino ang gumawa? Okay? Sino yung gumawa and so. And then saan nangyari? So those important details na ito can be presented using charts. Okay? And once na na-present natin yung charts, we can then look on ways to improve yung current process. And that can be done through like Kaizen Blitz na tinatawag. Ito po yung mga activities na, okay, may naisip ako, what if gawin natin to? What if ganyan? What if i-remove natin yung process na ito? What if magkaroon tayo halimbawa ng preparation before that process para mapaikli natin yung lead time or so. So yun, yung tawag din mga Kaizen Blitz or mga Kaizen activities. Okay, mga continuous improvement activities. And then once na na-identify na natin yung mga Kaizen Blitz na yan, then we can construct a future process or a future map. Okay? And that future map, ito yung magbibigay sa atin ng idea. Okay, from, let's say, from the lead time of 15 days, makakat natin siya into 2 days na lamang. Okay? Magiging 2 days na lamang. So, paano daw po siya ginagawa? Ganyan po yung mga nangyayari sa industry. Ano? Okay? So, an example of that is through the use of time function mapping. Ito pong time function mapping ay kagaya nito. Para ito sa industry, tinatawag namin siya as swim lane. Dito po nakikita sino yung mga involved, saan nangyari, sino ang involved. Ayan, for that operation. Okay, and at the same time, dahil nga po may time, gaano katagal inoperate yung particular task or activities na yun. Okay po. And what is meant by baseline? Kung babalikan natin yung kanina kong present na nawala na, okay, this refers to the current process. Before you improve anything, kailangan may baseline muna tayo. Okay, para makita natin ano ba yung naging improvement. Okay po? Okay. And then, yun. Ito yung customer natin. Anong ginawa niya? Nag-place ng order. Then, na-receive ni sales yung order. Pre-process niya. And then, nakita ni planner sa system yung order. Ngayon, siya ang ginawa niya, naglagay siya ng plano. Then, yung plano natin, binigay natin kay production. Si production sa plant A, halimbawa may dalawang planta ka, plant A, plant B. Ayan, ginawa niya yung operations needed for that finished goods part number. And then, ayan, may mga work in process. Ibig sabihin ng work in process, ito yung mga semi-finished na parts, hindi pa tapos, mga assembled items pa lamang, hindi pa siya finished goods. And then dinala siya sa warehouse. And then transfer siya. And then ayun, nagkaroon ng mga movement dito. And then prinasa siya sa second plant natin. Then from the second plant, na-produce na natin yung parts. Nidala natin siya sa warehouse. And then pagkadala natin siya sa warehouse, minove natin siya, transport, sila po yung in charge dito, transfer natin siya hanggang ma-receive ni customer. Okay po. So overall, ang ating time, lead time from order placement up to the order receipt ay 52 days. Malinaw po ba itong swim lane or time function mapping? For sure po ako magagamit po to. Kaya wala akong sapat na example dito. Ang hirap po maghanap ng examples kasi sobrang dami na po naming projects doon sa industry. So it's kind of difficult to look specific to a project using a swim lane. Pero guys, sana naintindihan natin to kung anong ibig sabihin. Any question? Any question po? Okay.
Wala pa po.
Wala pa po.
Okay po. So, syempre, this is the current state. Halimbawa, syempre, ipe-present nyo na to sa inyong mga ka-team, sa continuous improvement teams nyo, and which are composed of several or a cross-functional team, meaning maraming departments na involved. So, you can look for opportunities dito. Like for example, ito. Ari po ay note. Ayan. Parang kidlat kasi yun eh. Kaizen blitz. Remove waiting time. So ito yung mga opportunities na pwede nyo gawin. And then, yan. May lalagay dito. Halimbawa, too much movement. Okay? Reduce movement or operate only in one plant. Ano pa? Move machines. Extrusion machine from plant 1 to plant A. Okay? So, yan po yung mga improvement opportunities. So, again, kung imagine niyo pag naka-list down lamang yung inyong mga process na ito, hindi natin makikita ng maayos yung sitwasyon. Okay? That is why it's important to have this mapping. Okay? Kasi ito yung gagamitin nyo to show or to know kung ano-ano yung mga improvement opportunities na pwede nating i-propose. Okay? After nito, syempre, mag-uusap yung cross-functional team. Ayan, pag-usapan, paano kaya natin i-move yung machine na to? Extrusion machine to from plant B to plant A para ma-remove natin yung too much waiting time, too much movements. Ayan. And then after nun, magkakapag-create kayo ng mga countermeasures kasi na-determine nyo na yung problema, too much waiting. Ano ang countermeasure mo dun? Too much movement. Ano ang countermeasure mo dun? Okay? So once na nakalinya na yun, yung mga countermeasures na yun and then syempre yung action plan, you can then have a target or a proposed plan. So in here, na-simplify natin yung process. So ito, ganun pa rin. 1 day yung ating processing mula sa 12 days. Bakit daw po to 12 days? So may improvement opportunity dito. Okay? Yan, ginawa natin. In-automate natin. Possible na to. Rather than telecommunications or rather than emailing, siguro may ginawa tayong improvement dito sa system. Okay? And then less na yung waiting time, less na yung movement. And kung mapapansin nyo, ang lead time natin is na-cut to 6 days. Malinaw po. So this is an example of a continuous improvement project. Okay? And hoping na magagamit nyo to. And I'm expecting na syempre magagamit nyo to sa industry. Okay. So aside from that time function mapping, showing the flow of our process and yung time or yung duration for those activities, may other charts po tayong pwedeng magamit dito when we're doing an analysis on our process. Okay, and or any kinds of improvement on our processes. We have process charts which uses symbols to show the key activities. Ito po yung mga process chart, yung mga kalimitan. Nakikita nyo yung ganito. Yung arrow, ayan, delay, operation, inspection, and mga storage. Yan, kalimitan yung mga nakikita ninyo. Okay, sa process charts. And then, yun nga, na-cover na natin to. Flow charts, kalimitan ito yung mga movement of materials presented through spaghetti diagram. Ayan. So, again, ayan, spaghetti diagram. Ito naman, napakaraming examples sa net nito for the spaghetti diagram. Ayan. Okay, ito na mas maganda to. So, nakikita nyo ba dito? Yan po yung mga movement ng mga tao. Okay? Then, ito, magandang example din. Itong green, ibang operations to, ibang tao or ibang material. Ang red, ibang tao, ibang material. Then, ang green, ibang tao or ibang material. So, ano nakikita nito? May mga collisions dito. Bakit kailangan mag-travel ng ganong kalayo? Okay? And then later on, mai-evaluate natin and how can we improve yung process natin. Okay? Ito, halimbawa, this is the before and then this is the after. Okay, yan po yung mga spaghetti diagram. Okay, yan po yung flow diagrams natin. Questions? So, ayan, para mas makita natin, color-coded siya. Depende sa kung anong operation yung ating i-review. Okay po? Okay. So, yun yung flow chart. Ngayon, dito naman tayo sa VSM. Sa VSM naman po, yan ang example ng VSM. May mga external factors naman po tayong kino-consider dito. Ayan, beyond immediate organization. These are what they call as external elements. Halimbawa na external elements, customers, suppliers, outside our organization. Okay? So it shows yung flow, yung process flow, yung time, gaano katagal tinatapos yung operation na yun, and identifying ano yung mga value-added information, ano yung mga value-added activities na meron dun sa operations natin, and also at the same time, ma-identify din natin ano yung mga non-value adding activities. Example, ito po. Ayan, nakikita yung flow. May dumating tayong raw materials, weekly yung delivery. Pre-process natin yung raw materials na yun dun sa machine na yun with one operator. Then that output ng machine na yun ay pinapunta natin sa mounting. Then yung output nito ay inassemble. Yung output ng yung assembled parts naman po ay tinas natin. Yung tested parts natin ay pinak na natin pag pumasa, and then i-ship natin kay customer. Nakuha yung flow na yun. And kung mapapansin nyo dito, ang production ay ini-inform niya si supplier ano yung orders na kailangan natin. Okay? So, for this case, kailangan natin ng 2,500 na order per week ng raw materials na yun. Kung mapapansin nyo din dito, parang kidlat siya. Okay? Kidlat. Diba? Meaning, electronic yung kanya naging transmission. Okay? And ito naman po, si customer, magpe-place din siya ng orders. Diba? Magpe-place siya ng orders sa system natin. And then, yung management na involved doon ay magpe-place naman ng orders natin sa mga for raw material supply. Itong ginagawa ni production supervisor, so he's the one communicating with the people involved sa mga operations na to para at least alam niya yung status if we're fulfilling ba the orders or may possible misses ba tayo. And kung ito daily yung communication, production supervisor with the line operators, sabihin natin, or line leaders. Ayan. Siyempre, ito naman po, magbibigay siya ng update sa management, sa mga supervisor or sa mga managers if anong status. Okay? Kasi po guys, pag nasa industry ka, we have several customers, we have several orders. And syempre, may mga restrictions dito, may mga possible misses, may mga possible na problema. And we may not fulfill all the time, the orders ng customer. Or possibly, si suppliers nagka-issue din. Hindi siya nakapag-supply sa atin. Okay? So, ayan po, process flow. And then we have external elements dito. And then some other data. Kung mapapansin nyo rin dito, may time element tayo, process time, lead and delete time. So, halimbawa ito, from supplier to our manufacturing plant, it takes 5 days. Okay? And then, moving or processing that raw material will only take 45 seconds. Okay? And then, movement of materials or movement of those produced parts dito sa machine 1, okay, will take 3 days before siya ma-process dito sa mounting. And then it will take 6 days to process dito sa assembly and so on so forth. Okay po? Nakuha? Okay, nakuha po to. So ito po yung tinatawag natin ng mga lead time. And then ito yung tinatawag natin na processing time. Ito pong nasa baba na to. Okay? So ibig sabihin yung packaging, that's only take 20 seconds. Ang testing natin, that only takes 20 seconds. Assembly, that takes 15 seconds. And then ito, yun yung mga lead time natin. Okay? So in here, we can identify ano-ano yung mga area na pwede nating improve. Diba? Like ito, bakit kaya 3 days? We're at the same plant naman. Bakit ang tagal ng naging movement nung output sa machine 1 to the mounting operations? Okay, so later on, we can review paano natin ma-remove or ma-address yung mga non-value added activities. Na ito yung mga activities na hindi nakakapag-add ng value dun sa on how we can fulfill customer requirements. Okay po. So this is an example of value stream mapping. Pag nasa industry ka, value stream map. Yan. Ganito naman po ang itsura ng value stream map sa industry. We have the supplier. Ayan, production control. Almost the same. Diba? And then we have the processing time, the lead time, the processing time, lead time, processing time. Ayan. Ganyan yung example. Napakarami naman po nito sa internet. Yan. And then, kung mapapansin nyo dito, ayun, yung sinusulat ko kanina na parang kidlat, guys. Nakikita to? So, yan po yung mga Kaizen blitz or mga Kaizen opportunities natin. Ito yung mga magsasabi sa'yo na, okay, why not i-try natin improve yung process na yan ito. Sana mas, ayan. Ayun, yung mga kidlat na yun. Yeah, let's try 5S. Let's try 5S dito. Let's try 5S dito. Let's combine this operation. Nakukuha? Yan po yung itsura ng value stream mapping. Okay po, there are several references po dito on how to value stream. And then mas makukuha nyo po yung detalye nito, ma-actual nyo po ito sa lean manufacturing. Okay? Question? Pero syempre, gagawin din natin to. Wala. Okay, thank you po. So, process shorts, gets nyo na naman to. Service blueprinting, ito po yung way on how to ensure na parang rin siyang flowchart eh. Okay? But then, meron tayong different levels of to address yung different kinds of issues. Okay? So, itong example ng service blueprinting, you have the process, and then ayan yung process, and then we have several levels. Ito kalimitan is for service nga po. Okay? Okay. And then we have service process matrix. Ayun lang. Ito lang naman to understand yung degree of customization and degree of labor nung bawat operations nato. For example, sa banking, so low yung customization kasi almost the same naman yung binibigay na service from one customer to another, but then it requires high amount of labor. Okay? So yan yung ibig sabihin lang nito. Okay, yun. Pag nasa industry ka, makaka-encounter ka ng several kinds of technologies na makakatulong sa'yo, makakapag-assist, or it can also allow you para matingnan ano-ano kayo mga improvement opportunities na pwede nating magamit. Like for example, using automated system, using process control, using vision system, using robot, automated storage and retrieval system, and many others. So daanan lang natin yung iba. Ayan. Ito, RFID system. Ito po yung ibig sabihin nito. So rather than doing your documentation, handwritten, ayun, gagawin na lang through barcodes and RFID. Okay, lesser yung data entry errors. Process control, ayan po. Pag nasa industry ka, may makikita kang mga tao na nakatitig lang sa screen. Ini-evaluate yung output ng operation na to, output ng another operations, and many others. Ayan, may makikita kayong mga ganyan. Okay po. Para ma-reveal, asan yung problema? May nagkakaroon ba tayo ng tinatawag na bottlenecks? Okay? And then vision system, sa industry, napakahalaga po nito, especially for inspection. If you recall last time, may mga customers tayong requiring for 100% inspection. Okay, and then ayaw din naman natin kuminsan na we're just doing acceptance sampling na okay, kung ano yung result ng 5, yun na yung result ng 1,000,000. Okay, ayaw naman natin ng ganun kasi ang luag kumbaga ng ating quality. So, they are using a vision system na kagaya nito. Para siyang yung may camera na nakapoint dito. Ayan, sa mga products natin. And then later on, na-detect na if pasok ba siya sa specs na sinet natin, may problema ba? Good parts ba siya or bad parts? Okay? Ayan. Yun po, vision. That's a vision system. Maraming ganito sa industry. And then using of robots, syempre, we want to make our process more accurate, more consistent. Okay? And that can only be established by using, or one of the ways to establish that is using robots. Consistent yung result niya, pare-pareho yung result. Okay? Unlike yung paggamit natin ng mga labor-intensive processes. So sometimes yung mga labor-intensive processes na yun ay pinag-aaralan kung pwede ba tayo mag-install ng robot to simplify our process, to cut our costs. Okay? So yan po. Automated storage and retrieval system, ang best example po nito, halimbawa yung elevator for cars. Car elevator. Ayan, yung parang ganito. Okay, yan. And then yung sa Amazon din. Amazon robot. Ito, yung sa Amazon. Kung napapansin nyo, yung mga robot, sila na yung mga nag-move ng mga paleta na to or yung mga racks na to papunta sa another location. Nakukuha? So yan po yung example nung retrieval system natin. Okay? Siguro nakita nyo na yung vision na to ni Amazon sa kanilang warehouse. Again, controlled po yung mga robots na to, hindi nagbabanggaan. Ayan. Okay, yan. Automated guided vehicle has kapareho lang din naman yung sa Amazon na yun. And then FMSS, and then computer integrated manufacturing to simplify our process or kinds of revisions sa mga engineering drawings to make some sorts of simulation, um, to make easy revisions on our simulations. Okay, questions. Then ito, skip na natin. Self-explanatory nito. Question po about process strategy. Wala po. Okay.
Wala po.
Wala.
Wala po.
Okay. Thank you po. So punta tayo sa next part natin, which is yung capacity planning. Sa industry, napakahalaga po nitong capacity planning. One, kasi kung kayo po ay planner, kung kayo production planner, ayaw naman nating mag-produce or maglagay ng plano exceeding our capacity. Okay po? Our capacity po kasi ay, there are several kinds of restrictions dito sa capacity natin. And alam naman natin kung hanggang ano lang yung kaya ni production, at nasan yung bottleneck. Ayan, through yung mga constraints natin. Okay? So kami sa industry, when we're doing a capacity planning, we're using several charts dito. For example, ang best namin ginagawa is yung SNOP chart. Whereas we're comparing ano yung forecasted volume, ano yung capacity namin, ano yung projection ng inventory. Pag yung projection ng inventory namin ipabagsak na, ibig sabihin that requires attention, kailangan namin ng kinds of capacity improvements. Halimbawa, ito. Ayan. So, ito yung isa sa mga ways to review our capacity. Ang capacity increase po kasi ay hindi biro. Kasi posible ang capacity increase, pinakasimple ay by adding labor. But then those labor po, syempre, if you hire additional manpower, may mga learning curve na tinatawag. 'Di ba? It takes time for them to match yung mga yung ginagawa ng mga current operators, yung output ng mga current operators. Okay? So, ayan, example natin. Ito. So, ito pong mga notes na nakikita nyo, yan yung mga plano ng production and how to increase your capacity. Okay? So, ito pong line na to, guys. Hey, ayaw niya. Ayaw niya. Okay. Protected view. Okay. So, itong mga lines na to, ayan, yung kulay, ayan po, yung hindi ko lang ma-select. Ito pong kulay na to. Yan, nakikita nyo na 3 shifts, 5.7 days. Nakikita po? So, yan po yung capacity line. Ibig sabihin, monthly, ito lang yung kaya naming gawin. Okay? And then itong blue line na to, ito yung representation ng inventory position. And this is our target inventory level. So, ano napansin nyo? Kailan kami makaka-recover? Next year pa. Okay? Ngayon, anong risk niyan? Hindi namin mafulfill yung mga customer requirements. Magkakaroon ng line downs yung customer namin. Magbabayad kami ng line down ng customers. So, kailangan talagang i-review yung capacity. Napakahalaga po. So, sa ngayon, may plano yung capacity increase namin. Ayun, may konting ramp up na tinatawag. Ayun, may ramp up dito. Nakuha yung ramp up na yan. So, yan yung plano. Pero still, it's not enough. Tama? Remember, pag ang ating capacity improvements can be done by adding labor, so you just need like 2 months, 3 months before fully mapataas natin yung output. Okay? But then, for this case, naka-4 shift na siya, 24/7 yung operations natin. So, ang ating possible way to improve our capacity could be to add new machine, Yun na lang. And two, check nasan yung mga bottlenecks. Pag sinabing bottlenecks, sila yung mga constraints na naglilimit ng kakayahan natin to produce. Halimbawa, if there are 4 processes, and then for the process 1, they can produce like 10 million. Process 2 can produce 10 million din. Process 3 can produce 3 million. Process 4, 10 million din. So ano yung ating restriction doon? Yung process 3. Whereas nakakapag-produce lang tayo ng 3 million. Okay? So ganyung mga cases. Mamaya ipapakita rin natin yan. So ganito po ang aming approach sa capacity. So ayan, nalaman na natin, okay, our recovery is on February 2022. So meaning, can we do something as early as that month para ma-pull in tong machine na to? Or pwede ba tayong bumili pa ng additional machine na ang arrival ay dito? Okay? Hindi po biro pag machine na yung usapan. Bakit? Kasi po, yung machine na yun ay kine-create lang ng manufacturer ng machine once na may order na sila. And it takes time. Okay? Halimbawa kami, ang machine namin, ito po, ang production nito ay nasa Mexico and we're buying the machine sa China. So, sabihin namin, okay, China manufacturer, can you do a machine for us? Ganyan, ganyan yung aming specifications na ibibigay. And then, syempre, yung transportation, di naman siya pwedeng isakay na lang sa eroplano, di ba? Kasi pag sa eroplano, masyadong costly. So, ilalagay siya sa bangka or sa barko. Okay? So, yung transportation time sobrang tagal, months. Okay, ay yung production time pa nila nung manufacturer sa China matagal din. Okay, so hindi po biro to. Okay, so that's why mahalaga pong i-review natin yung capacity. Okay? Another approach namin to review our capacity is like this one. Ayan, we're reviewing the capacity. Tingnan natin. So, ayan. Excel, syempre yung ginagamit namin in reviewing kasi it's the simplest way. So, ito po, yung aming product line na ito, it will undergo itong tatlong steps na to, 3 major steps na to. Assembly, for the, ayan, i-assemble namin yung part, magmo-molding kami ng mga plastic parts, ipe-plating namin yung metals na ginagamit for fuses. Okay? So, for assembly, we have 15 million output. We have 14.6 million output for molding. And for the plating, we have like 15 million then. So which is the bottleneck? The bottleneck is on the molding. Ibig sabihin, we have to do something sa molding. Nakuha kasi sa ngayon ng ATO, anong capacity niya? 14.6 million. Malinaw? Kasi siya yung bottleneck. Siya yung nag-restrict. Again, just to depict. Mas maganda itong gawin sa any logic pero draw. Okay. So, sorry, ito yung process. Ayan, halimbawa, molding. Siyempre, molding muna. And then, plating. And then, ASI. Okay, so kung ang output nito ay 14.6, even if ang capacity ng dalawa ay 15 million, 14.6 lang yung maximum na maiilabas nitong molding. Malinaw? So therefore, our molding is our capacity restriction or our capacity constraints or our bottleneck. Malinaw po. And then this will allow us to take actions. So nandito yung actions namin na kailangan gawin. Okay? Siyempre, may mga cases na hindi naman kailangan ng action, yung mga bottleneck. Bakit? Kasi nga po, nire-review muna if our demand ba ay malaki talaga. Okay, kasi kung hindi naman ganun kalaki, so there's no need to address right now or immediately yung mga bottlenecks. Okay? Question po. So yan, ito yung example ng aming capacity planning. Okay? Okay, and then may iba't ibang tawag sa capacity. Okay, hold on. Hanapin ko lang dito. May iba't ibang tawag dun sa capacity. Una, may tinatawag tayong maximum capacity or ito yung theoretical. Ito yung based sa computation sa time study. This is the best, or machine capacity. This is the best that we can do. Ito yun. Okay? And then, may tinatawag tayong staff capacity or tinatawag din demonstrated capacity or ito lang yung kakayahan ni production given yung OEE na tinatawag or overall equipment efficiency. Okay? So, ito yung proven na kayang maging output ni production na de-demonstrate nila. So, kung mapapansin nyo to, theoretically, for this line, they can produce 26 million. But then, kung mapapansin nyo dito, 25 million lang yung maximum na nakalagay. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa nila na-demonstrate itong 26 million or possibly very risky ng 26 million na mag-commit yung production ng 26 million. Again, that depends on they have a consideration of tinatawag na OEE or overall equipment efficiency kung hindi ako nagkakamali. Okay. So, kalimitan sa overall equipment efficiency, nakaset siya sa 85%, 90%, 87% or so. Okay? So, ito po yung concept. Whereas, paano halimbawa pag nagka-problema sa raw materials, nagkaroon ng konting interruptions. So, at least may allowances tayo. Okay, na binibigay. And then besides, may mga mixed issues pa dyan. Imagine, for this line, how many part numbers are there? There could be, let's say, 25 part numbers. So, syempre, yung change over time, factor din yun. Diba? Just to give you idea, anong itsura yun. Okay. So, una sa lahat, mataas yung demand namin and hindi namin kailangan talaga naka-max out yung production. But then, 25 million lang yung kinocommit ni production. So, good if they can output at a higher rate. Pero, ayan, yun yung realistic number. Kumbaga, mula sa production. Ito yung example natin. Again, I'm typing in mini. And then, makikita, ito po yung planning table na tinatawag. Nakikita nyo dito, ito yung production plan total. And then, there are several part numbers here na kailangan i-run dun sa production ni mini. Okay, ilan yung mag-share? May concept na tayo ng change over time. Ito kasi iba't ibang klase. So, ibig sabihin, magpapalit ka mula 4 amp, gagawing 5 amp. So, may change over time tayong tinatawag din. So, those change over time concepts na yan, hayaan ko na lang siya sa lean manufacturing. Pero kung mapapansin nyo dito, so about 25 million yung kanilang pinaplano. Okay? Kasi nga po ayaw naman nating mag-produce or magplano ng more than what production can do. Else, magbibigay tayo ng miscommitment sa customers that we can do this even if we're not. Okay? Questions? Nakuha yung konsepto ng capacity? Okay. So, capacity natin, tinatawag din siyang throughput or how much a facility can hold, how much a facility can produce in a certain period of time. Ito, okay na yan, kaya nyo na intindihin. Dito sa book, may tinatawag tayong design and effective capacity. Itong design capacity, what they call as maximum capacity. Okay? And then, effective capacity, ito yung tinatawag ko as demonstrated capacity. Ito lang yung realistic number na kayang gawin ni production given yung current operating constraints. And syempre, the demonstrated capacity is lower than the maximum capacity. Malinaw? And ways to measure po yung ating capacity is making use of utilization and efficiency. Utilization is what the team has produced divided by the design capacity, while efficiency is the output divided by the effective capacity. Okay? Example. So, meron isang bakery na they are producing, last week they able to produce 148,000. Okay? and their effective capacity is 175,000. And their design capacity, according sa engineering team, that machine, that baking machine, or that oven, or they can really process a maximum of 1,200 rolls per hour, and they are operating 7 days per week, 3 hours per shift. So una, kinalculate natin yung design capacity. So that's 7 days per week times 3 na 8-hour shift. 8-hour shift, that could be 8 to 5, 12 to okay, 1 to 12, and then ano pa ba? 9 to 7. Yan, halimbawa, yan po yung ating 3 shift na sinasabi na tig 8 hours. Halimbawa, 8 hours to. So, 7 times 3 times 8 times 1,200 rolls per hour. So, ito yung ating design capacity, which is still greater than, which is still greater than 175K or effective capacity. Now, calculate daw natin yung utilization. Our utilization is equal sa actual output divided by our utilization, so design capacity. Okay? Actual output natin is 148,000. I-divide natin sa 201,600. Then you'll have the utilization. And then efficiency naman po ay equal sa actual output divided by effective capacity, or what the line can run. Okay, so it's 148,000 divided by 175K. Okay, makukuha natin yung values na to. Questions? Again, ito magagamit nyo to pag nasa, posible mas gamit yung efficiency, yung concept na efficiency pag nasa industry ka, pero mahalaga po ito sa CIE. Okay, so yan, utilization and efficiency. Okay? Next, what if daw po ang efficiency natin for a new line is down ay naging 75%? So again, this is just a cross multiplication. What's the expected output? So expected output is the effective capacity multiplied by efficiency. Remember, efficiency is equal to output divided by effective capacity. So cross multiply lang po. So given a 75% efficiency on the line, that results to 131,000 lang na produced item. Kasi nga po, bumaba yung efficiency. Questions? Again, these are very self-explanatory na. Questions po? Wala? Okay, wala. Ngayon, syempre yung demand natin, hindi naman natin control yung customer. Hindi natin siya, may instances na sobrang laki ng orders ni customer, may instances na halos walang orders. So may instances na yung demand natin ay mas malaki kaysa sa capacity. That, yun nga, sobrang taas ng demand natin na hindi natin kayang suportahan. What can we do, or what can the management do? One is to increase our price. Second is to extend our lead time. Okay, and of course, yung long-term solution is trying to improve our capacity. But again, it takes time. What if naman po ang capacity natin ay mas mataas sa ating demand? So dito po mapasok yung marketing team. Okay? Then with regards naman po sa seasonality, so syempre kailangan natin anticipate ano yung peak seasons. And then we can plan ahead of those peak seasons. Halimbawa, ito yung ating peak season. Ayan, sorry. Pababa dito and then mamaya tataas na uli. And yung ating production plan, it could be as high as this. Kasi ito lang yung ating capacity. So hindi natin to kaya itong suportahan. So we can start building extra inventory at the early stage, at the early months, bago tayo pumunta dito sa ating seasonality. Itong peaks ng ating season. Okay? So yan yung ginagawa sa planning. Okay. Then, ayan. Pag naman po sa service sector naman po, pag ang demand natin ay masyadong mataas na kaysa sa ating kakayahan, normally nagkakaroon na ng reservation and appointments or yung first come first serve. While if our capacity exceeds our demand, so dito yung mga cases na mag-hire ka na lamang ng part-time to work them temporarily or kinds of reliever na lang muna. Okay. So yan. Break-even analysis, ito na-cover nyo na naman to. Hindi ko na masyadong i-discuss. Okay lang. Na-cover nyo na daw po ito sa engineering eco. So ayan. But then may special thing dito eh. Sa break-even analysis kasi normally if we're talking of let's say sari-sari store. Ayan, there are several products na itong offer ng sari-sari store. Tama? So, multiple product case yung ating gagamitin. And this is the formula that we're using for multi-product case. Okay po? Okay, I'll go to Excel. And we'll open a file dito. Okay. Ayan. Ito naman simpleng-simple lang to. Okay. Napakadali lang naman ito. Okay. So let's say you are producing multiple products na ito. Okay, we have the sandwich, we have the drinks, may restaurant ka, and then ito yung mga ino-offer mo. Baked potato. Okay po. And then, annual forecasted sales units, 9,000, 9,000, 7,000 units. So ito yung ina-expect mo for the whole year. And then selling price, so 5, 1.5, and $2. Okay po. So ayan yung selling price natin. And then syempre may variable cost dito. Halimbawa ng variable cost, magkano ba yung gastos kada sandwich? Okay, that's a basic. So we have 3, 0.5, and $1. Malinaw? So, ang goal natin, what's the break-even point? Even point in dollars. And how much should we earn per day given the restaurant operating 312 days per year. Okay, so magkano daw dapat yung ating ma-generate na revenue per day para malaman natin if break-even ba. Okay? Or ito yung target daily sales mo dapat. Okay. So first step natin, ayusin lang natin to. Okay, ang first step natin guys is, ayan, follow lang natin yung formula na ito. Okay. Sorry. Again, this is a case of multi-product. Yan. So, follow lang daw po natin to. So, dito tayo muna sa baba. So, 1 minus, or pangalanan natin siya sa contribution na lang itong 1 minus V divided by P. Contribution. So, contribution niya ay equal siya sa 1 minus V divided by ito. Okay? So, ayan. May value na tayo. After nyan, i-multiply daw po natin yung weight. Ibig sabihin ng weight that is derived sa percent each product is of to the total sales. Ibig sabihin, total sales in dollars, hanapin muna natin yun, and then saka natin hahanapin yung weight. Okay? So, to determine yung total sales, so i-multiply lang natin yung selling divided by sa yung selling price, i-divide, itong units, multiply sa selling price. So, ito yung makuha mong sales. And then, syempre, isasum ko to get the weight. Okay? So, ito yung total. And then, i-divide natin siya sa weight. So, nakuha na natin yung weight ng kada isang item. Malinaw po. After po nun, pumunta na tayo dito. Pinangalanan ko na lang siya as denominator. Denominator na lang po. Itong buong ito, denominator. So, equal daw po ito, multiply dito. Okay, and then isasum natin sila. Question so far? Follow? Okay.
Opo.
Okay, so we have the denominator na. Ngayon, ano yung fixed cost? Para yata hindi natin nakita yung fixed cost dito. Okay, hanapin ko lang yung portion na yun. Ito. Nakalagay dito, fixed cost or 3,000 per month. Okay? Ibig sabihin, since we're talking of annually here, so i-annualize muna natin yung annual fixed cost. So annual fixed cost, that should be equal sa 3,000 multiplied by 12. Okay? And then we can then calculate yung BEP in dollars, which is using this formula. Equal dito, divided by dito. So, anong ibig sabihin nito? Company should sell as much as 76.8K to break per year to break even. Okay? So, alam niyo naman yung konsepto ng break even, ano? Walang tubo, walang lugi. Okay? Okay po.
Opo, sir.
Okay, next. So, we're able to fix this. Next, how much should we earn per day given at 312 days? So, BEP in dollar per day. So, simply, it's just ito divided by 312. Ibig sabihin, company should set, sabihin natin, ng reterm lang natin, should set daily target of 246. 246.04 to break even. Okay, so ibig sabihin, pag hindi sila kumikita ng 246 dollars per day, more likely malulugi sila. Nakuha? Okay. So yan po yung dalawa natin. Siyempre, may another question pa dito. So, yan po yung ibig sabihin nito ha. Ayan. Yun, 245.5. Siguro may mali lang akong type dito, but then 0.47 yung ginamit nila. Okay, siguro sila yung mali dito. Ano? 76596. Okay, dito magkaiba. Wala naman tayong mali, di ba? Siguro sa ano na lang, routing na lang nila yon. Okay. Okay, so tingnan natin dito. Gusto niya daw malaman, syempre, break even for the number of sandwiches that must be sold every day? So that's a different question. Ano? Break even for the number of items, number of each item that must be sold per day. So ano daw po yung dapat na target na sales ng ilang sandwich, ilang drinks, ilang baked potato ang kailangan mong mabenta kada araw para mag-break even ka? Okay? Malinaw po yung goal natin dito. Okay? To do that, we're using na ganitong formula, yung kanyang weight, ito pong weight na to, i-multiply mo dun sa daily na break-even divided by the selling price. Okay? So, i-set ko na lang to dito. And then, insert na lang ako dito para mabili. Daily number. Okay, so pangalanan ko na lang siya, units to sell daily to break even. Break even. Okay, so ayan siya. Okay? Okay po, malinaw pa. Okay. So, ang gagawin daw po natin, equal ito, multiply sa daily, F4, i-divide natin siya sa selling price. So, ibig sabihin, anong ibig sabihin nito? I-round up na lang natin kasi wala namang 30.5 na sandwich eh. Round up, 0. Okay, so ibig sabihin, 31 sandwiches must be sold per day, 31 drinks must be sold per day, and 24 potatoes must be sold per day to break even. Question? Question?
Wala po, sir.
Wala pa. Okay. So, ayan. Yan yung break-even analysis. Itong, hindi ko na isosolve to. Madali na naman to. Since madali na naman, isolve nga natin ang isa. Okay. So, isolve lang natin to na mabilis. The design capacity for the engine is, the company is 80 trucks. So, sulat ko lang dito. Design capacity is equal to 80 trucks. So, ibig sabihin, they can accommodate up to 80 trucks per day dun for the repair. And then, effective capacity, since one engine lang naman is the one truck, tama? Okay, is equal to 40 or engines. Ilagay na natin. 40 engines per day. And actual output, it's equal to 36 engines per day. Utilization efficiency muna tayo. Okay, utilization is equal sa, again, this one is actual output divided by the design capacity. So that's equal sa 36 divided by, same unit lang naman sila. So may percentage tayo makukuha dito. And then efficiency is equal to the actual output divided by effective capacity. Okay, equal to 36 divided by 40, may makukuha tayong percentage. Malinaw, simple lang yan. Okay, then if efficiency next month is expected to be 80%, so efficiency for next month ay equals sa 82%. N plus 1 meaning next month. Okay, what is the expected output? So once again, ang calculation ng efficiency ay equal sa actual output divided by effective capacity. So, kung ito ay 0.82, ang actual output mo and effective capacity is 40, then actual output is equal to 40 multiplied by 0.82, and then you'll have the actual output of blank engines, or sabihin natin expected kasi expected output yung nakalagay, engines per day. Questions? Questions? Wala?
Wala.
Wala pa. Okay, good. Okay, so I think I missed may nalimutan tayo dito sa presentation na ito. Yan. Okay, bottleneck analysis. So halimbawa ito, may line na ganito. Okay, you receive an order and then it takes 30 seconds per order to be received. On our first assembly line, it takes 15 seconds for bread to be received. Bread preparation, ikakat halimbawa. So 15 seconds. 20 seconds if i-fill natin, then ito to 40 seconds. Then i-deliver natin 37.5. For our second assembly line, ito naman po yung kanyang output. Okay? So clearly the toaster is a single slowest resource, which is true. 40 seconds. Okay? But is it the bottleneck? Okay? So because each of the 3 assembly line operations uses a separate resource worker, different partially completed sandwich can be worked on simultaneously. Okay, in this case, the 40-second toasting represents the bottleneck for each assembly line. Okay. Okay po. And then, ayun, nakalagay naman po dito. Okay, ibig sabihin, if pwede namang simultaneous sila, ayan, 20 seconds per sandwich yung kanila magiging combined assembly line. And then, dito po, the capacity per hour equals, ayan, so yung wrapping actually, so siya, dahil nga po, dalawa naman po yung assembly line natin dito, so the wrapping actually is the real bottleneck. Okay, so nakalagay po dito, wrapping is just 37.4. Okay, ayan, basahan nyo na lang po to, ano, then madali na naman itong intindihin. Okay po. Okay. So that's mainly for our capacity. Any questions so far po? Wala. Okay, punta tayo sa next part natin. Next part po natin is talking about location strategy. Ito po yung, syempre, before you, ayan, halimbawa sa inyong feasibility study, bago kayo magtayo ng planta, kailangan mag-design ng planta. Alam nyo dapat kung saan siya itatayo. Okay, and then you have several considerations para masabi na, or to really support bakit doon sa lugar na yun kayo magtatayo. Ito po ay hindi dahil sa bakante yung lupa doon na kaagad kayo magtatayo. Maraming factors to consider. Okay, and those factors must be quantifiable. Okay, and then yun nga po, ang decision natin for location decisions nahahati sa either it's a service consideration or is it a manufacturing consideration. Bakit po? Ang location strategy po, by the way po, is a long-term strategic decision. So dapat po tama agad yung decision natin. It is very difficult to reverse. So industrial location decision po or for manufacturing decision, you have to consider the cost. Okay? Cost po ang consideration dito. While for service, of course, yung revenue. Kasi, nasan ba? Kalimitan kasi sa service, if you're, halimbawa, magtatayo ka ng isang hospital, Okay? So, syempre, saan mo itatayo yung hospital mo? Syempre, dun sa accessible sa mga tao. Unlike sa manufacturing na okay lang na hindi siya accessible sa mga tao, sa mga customers, dapat po ay less yung cost doon, tipid yung production natin doon. Yung ating supply ng raw materials ay dapat malapit lang. Okay? So, several considerations, government agencies and the likes. Transportation, yung logistics natin, kailangan natin ma-review, and many others. Ito po, exchange rate, availability of supplies, communication, energy. Labor availability, kailangan din consider. Okay, and then yan, napakarami naman po nito, very self-explanatory naman po, and then hoping na kaya nyo na pong intindihin to and i-consider to sa feasibility study na gagawin nyo. Okay, yan. Ngayon, dito tayo. Quantifiable dapat po yung ating mga, or kailangan quantifiable yung ating support, or how can we verify that we really decided correctly dun sa ating location strategy. We have several factors dito, or several methods. We have factor rating, location break-even analysis, center of gravity, and transportation model. Sa factor rating, this is the most commonly used kasi po napaka-simple. You just list down ano-ano yung mga criteria na hinanap mo and then weigh in. You have to consider intangible and quantifiable data. And then you have to calculate the weighted average. So ito po yung steps niya. And then ito po yung mga several factors na pwede nyo i-consider to review yung mga decision, yung mga location alternatives. Okay? Halimbawa ito. There are 3 locations that you are to choose from. Then you identified 4 factors dito. The cost, proximity to transportation, taxes, and labor, and you provided a weight for each of those factors. So for this case, kailangan daw po yung labor availability, that's your prime consideration. Okay, after po nyan, i-score natin. What's the score for location A? Are they in terms of cost, in terms of labor, ano yung score niya? Let's say 5 being the highest, and so. Ayan, so for this case, 10 being the highest. So sa cost, mas makakatipid tayo pag location A. So this must be supported pa rin naman po ng other data. Kasi hindi po basta-basta na, okay, I want 10 for this one, I want 9 for that one. Kailangan po may data kayong, or meron kayong data to support these results. Okay, and then, yun nga, weighted average lang. 0.3 times 10 plus 0.2 times 7, so on and so forth. And then, the higher the better. So, meaning, ayan. So, A po ang ating pipiliin. So, kung magtatayo na tayo ng planta or warehouse, we'll pick the location A. Okay? Ito, pinakasimple nga po. Napakadali lang naman ito. But then, yun nga, how will you support, how will you defend these decisions? Okay? Next, locational break-even analysis. In here, you're considering yung cost na. Okay, and then, ang mahirap lang dito, kailangan alam mo yung fixed cost, alam mo yung mga variable costs in order for you to do this kind of analysis. Halimbawa, ito. You're an analyst at this company and you're looking to know which manufacturing, to know the location of a new manufacturing plant, be it Akron, Bowling Green, or Chicago. And then we have the fixed cost, estimated fixed cost per year, and then a variable cost as well. Then a price of 120, mabebenta mo to. And then, given na ang ina-expect mo ay 2,000 cases per year, saan kayang best location ka pwedeng magtayo? Okay? The best way to analyze this is, again, break-even analysis to either review which of these 3 locations are more profitable. And that can be done through here. So profit less total cost, diba? That's the concept of the break-even analysis. And in here, you can see that location B, Bowling Green, has the best result, best profit, given the 2,000 volume. Malinaw? Malinaw to, guys? Hindi ko na i-walk through, intindihin na natin to. But then, again, What if naman po, walang given sa atin na 2,000 na cases yung ina-expect nating sales. So, possibly, mag-vary yung decision natin sa kung ano yung magiging sales. Okay? And that can be done through this charting, break-even analysis. So, simple lang naman po to. You can just set up a crossover chart for a line chart for this equation. So, you just need to, let's say, substitute, sorry. Okay. If x ay 0, if x ay equals sa 3,000, halimbawa, 3,000 units. If wala tayong nabenta, ano yung best decision natin? So, dito, 3,000, 30,000, 60,000, 110,000. Then dito naman x, if 3,000, so substitute na lang to and then add dun, so may value. Malinaw? After po nito, makakapag-create na kayo ng dalawang points. So if x is 0, so ito siya. Then if y is 0, ganun. Mapapag-connect mo. So this represents the acron. And then halimbawa ito and then ito. Sorry, ito. So that's the represents the Bowling Green. And then halimbawa ito yung isa and then ito yung isa. Then that represents the Chicago. Okay? And then from here, you can evaluate ano yung range na best yung isa, then better naman yung isa for another case. Ayan. So halimbawa ito po. Okay, I think I have to erase first para malinaw. Okay. So, ayan. Di ba kanina ginawa natin if x ay 0, ito siya. You have 30,000. Okay, you have 60,000. You have 110,000. Nakuha? Then if x ay equals 3,000, so ito siya, and then possibly ito yung isa. Okay, malinaw po. Okay, again, 2 points determine a line. Okay, so in here po, makikita nyo to. Yung konsepto ng natin sa OR, diba, may restriction tayo. We want our area to be as high, as big as possible, pero yun nga, may restriction. So, pag nag-touch siya dito, so kalimitang nangyayari po dito sa break-even analysis, kung ano yung interior lines, interior segments, sila po yung best na decision for that range. For example, dito, mag-start tayo dito. Yun. Kita niyo itong red na mark na yun na sinusundan ko hanggang dito. So, ibig sabihin, ang acron po ay, anong line to? Acron. Okay? So, ang acron po ay best from 0 to 1,000 units. Malinaw? Next, interior lines. Ito naman po yung isa pang interior lines. Sorry, palitan ko lang ng kulay ha. Kasi medyo hindi makakuha yung ink color green. Okay. So again, itong acron na to, pupunta tayo dito. Malinaw hanggang dito kasi yun yung intersection. So masasabi natin ng acron is best mula sa range of sales from 0 to 1,000 units. Malinaw? Okay po. And then dito naman po, mula dito hanggang dito sa another intersection na yun, best po si Bowling Green from range. Ang range ay mula 1,000 to 2,500 units. Okay? And dito naman po, greater than 2,000 naman po, 2,500, greater than 2,500, best po si Chicago. Okay? Question. Question po. Again, yung interior lines yun yung ating magiging range. Okay, walang question?
Wala pa po.
Okay. So, ayan. Center of gravity is another powerful tool to evaluate the location. Dito po, kailangan lang dito ng specific dapat yung longitude, latitude. Okay, yung X and Y coordinate nung yung ating mga let's say customers or existing market and so. And then required din dito, dapat alam natin what's expected volume na kailangan nating i-ship as well as the shipping distance or the cost. So yan, ito yung formula natin. Simple lang to. Pakita natin sa example. So let's say, ayan, there are 4 cities with different volume. Ito po, ito yung volume nila. So nangangailangan sa Chicago ng 2,000, 200, 100, 200, then 200 naman po kay Atlanta. And then, kailangan daw po nating mahanap yung location for one warehouse. Halimbawa si Shopee. You have several dito sa Region 4. Gano'ng kataas yung demand sa lugar ng Laguna, lugar ng Batangas, and so on and so forth. And then, hahanapin natin kung saang warehouse na natin itatayo yung plant, yung ating, yun, kung saang natin itatayo yung ating warehouse. Okay? So, that warehouse must have an X and Y coordinates. Okay, pwedeng dito, pwedeng doon, pwedeng doon, pwedeng doon. Pero base sa analysis natin sa volume, mukha yatang kailangan mas malapit sa Chicago at Atlanta, that alone. Pero syempre, kailangan natin i-review rin yung distance. Okay? So, dito po, simple lang po. Again, you just need to calculate yung X and Y coordinates ng warehouse natin. Okay. So, in here, you just need to first multiply this dito and then add 200 plus 30 plus 100 times 90 plus 100 times 130 plus 200 times 60. That's the numerator. Maliwanag. And then, i-divide natin dito sa sum nito. That's ito. Then, you'll obtain the coordinate. Okay, para lang itong concept ng centroid. Okay, so this is the coordinate for your X. So, meron na tayong 66.7. Next, for the coordinate of Y, ganun na din po. 200 times 120 plus 100 times 110 plus 100 times 130 plus 200 times 40. Ito po yan. Okay? Divided by uli sa volume na yun. Total volume. And then you'll get a coordinate of 93.3. So, ang itsura niyan ay ito. Diyan po kayo magtatayo ng warehouse. Question? Nakuha yung konsepto ng center of gravity?
Apo.
Okay, simple lang yan. Then, of course, yung transportation model, whereas gagamit naman kayo, natutunan niyo ito dati, yung demand and supply, demand and capacity. Okay? So, ayan. Ganun lang din naman. And then, ano pa ba? Ito, hindi ko na so-solve pero ayan. So, ilan lang yun sa mga ways to determine the location or ilan lang yun sa mga methods to answer the location decisions. Question? Question po? Wala. Okay. It's the last part. Last part natin ay location strategies. Layout strategies. Ngayon, once na nakapag-set na kayo ng, alam niyo na kung saan nyo itatayo yung planta natin. Ngayon, question is, anong magiging itsura ng layout ng planta natin? Okay. Nasaan yung machine 1, machine 2, asan yung mga offices, and so. Okay. So ito naman, i-cover nyo to in much detail sa facilities planning nyo. Okay? So, ayan. Ito po napakahalaga whereas ng decision for layout para ma-ensure natin that we remain competitive, that less yung ating motion, less yung transportation natin, and yung layout natin ay cost-effective. Ito pong layout decision ay ilang beses pa ito gawin. Depende sa continuous improvement initiatives na gagawin at saka yung sa impact niya. Pero minsanan lang din naman po ito na gawin. So napakalaking reviewhan po nito kasi if you move one machine to another location, di ba, may interrupt yung process, may interrupt yung production mo. So, hindi po ganun kalimit yung dapat yung maging movement. Okay? So layout consideration, we want higher utilization of space, improve flow information, improve morale of the employee, better interaction, and more flexibility. Several types of layout natin. Ito office layout, retail layout, whereas sa retail layout naman po, sige, isa-isa natin. Okay, sa office layout, office, better information, better movement of information. Retail naman po ay gusto natin na yung halimbawa sa SM, gusto natin yung mga tao ay umikot sa supermarket. Okay, so yun yung goal natin para kumbaga papahanapan natin ng what do you call this? Yung gusto nating mag-earn ng mas mataas na revenue by them buying something na hindi nila kailangan. Okay? Kasi nga nakita lang nila as they walk dun sa ating supermarket. Then warehouse naman po, talking about the space and how to handle materials. And then fixed position layout. Ito po, halimbawa fixed position layout. Ito yung barko. Diba? So yung mga machines natin ay nandun katabi ng barko. Yung barko hindi gumagalaw. Ang building ganun din po. Okay? Process-oriented, low volume, high variety. Job shop, work cell naman po for repetitive process. Product-oriented naman po ay for process product focus or long run, longer run, high volume, low variety. Okay, so ito po yung mga good layout consideration. Aesthetics, better handling of equipment, ensuring na yung capacity and space requirements ay na-maximize. Less yung ating cost of transporting or moving between work areas. Okay? Skip ko na tong iba. Ito, mahalaga lang kung malaman natin. Ito maalam naman kayo magbasa na nito. Ano? But then, this is an example of a relationship chart na best utilized sa mga offices. Let's say, in here po, ina-assess natin if a CEO needs to be close to the secretary. Ayun, A. Ibig sabihin, absolutely necessary. Then, X, not desirable. Alin yung X? Ito. Dapat magkahiwalay yung sales area at saka central files. Halimbawa, ito yung layout natin. Nandito yung sales. Dapat nasa banda dito yung central area. Medyo malayo. Okay? Yan po yung ibig sabihin nito. Central files. Hindi magkadikit. Okay? And then ito pa, sales area and accounting ay dapat magkalayo. So, posible nandito yung accounting. Okay po? Well, kung itong CEO, dapat katabi niya yung secretary. Yan po yung konsepto nitong relationship chart. Okay? Then yun nga, sa supermarket retail, gusto nating ma-maximize yung profitability per square foot and mas makuha natin yung customer exposure. Okay, then warehousing, yun nga, kailangan natin ma-maximize yung total cube. It's not only the length and then the width of your warehouse, but also yung height. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, may mga racks yung ating warehouse, mataas, di ba? So, kailangan na-utilize din yan. Yan, example nung na-utilize natin yung warehouse natin using automated retrieval and the retrieval, automated storage and retrieval system. And cross-docking, warehouse layout, fixed position layout. Yung nga, sa operations, nandun lang yung na-operahan, and then sa barko, and so. Process-oriented, ito okay na to. Oh, ito skip ko na kasi sa next time niya na lang to i-cover. Okay. So, planning naman po, facilities planning, may mga software po tayong pwedeng gamitin. Okay, one of those is using computer-aided evaluation of facilities technique or craft. Whereas, i-input mo lang doon gaano kalawak dapat yung area nung one department. And then, yun, i-evaluate na niya. Magbibigay na siya sa iyo ng mga proposals on how to reduce the cost, reduce the movement. Okay? Ayan. Work cells. Ayan, several ways to improve the layout rather than this one. Pwede naman gawing ganito. And then rather than a straight line, gagawin natin U-shape. So, yan. Ito yung ibig sabihin. Reduce employee movement and space utilization while enhancing better communication. Okay, talk time. Skip ko na to ha, yung operation na to. Okay, ano pa ba? Okay, yan. Assembly line balancing. So ito, assembly line balancing, na-cover nyo na to dati sa work study. Hindi ko na ulit i-cover. Okay, so yan. Ganyan lang naman po yung itsura niya. Again, hindi po to PERT, pero ito po ay assembly line balancing. Whereas kinakalculate natin yung mga cycle time, and then mga number of workstations, and then meron tayong iba't ibang klaseng line balancing heuristics. And then, ayan, mag-assign tayo ng workstation sa kanila, work cells. Okay. Now, for your 15th laboratory po, what you have to do po is to pick any process that will show or reflect an assembly line. Kahit ano pong process na sa palagay nyo ay pwede nyong i-improve. Okay? And what you have to do is to illustrate it to know a top view of the process and then assess if there are kinds of improvements na pwedeng gawin. So ito po yung magiging output natin. Okay po. You have the current and the proposed layout. Okay? So, yun. Hindi ko pa ito posted but I think I'm allowing 2 weeks para i-present natin ito. Questions? Wala po. Okay, so hold on po ha. I'll just transition to a different laptop. I-drop ko po muna yung call habang nagta-transition ako sa different laptop. Because we have one more topic and this one is very simple na naman. Kagaya rin ng iba. So we'll be talking about any logic. Okay, so drop ko muna to.